Welcome back to the Coffee Conversation Soundstage, sponsored by SRS Distribution. I'm Karen Edwards, and I am thrilled that I have the privilege to be the host of this live coffee conversations. Usually Heidi's sitting here, but she's actually over at the World of Concrete hosting the coffee conversations over there. It sure is.
Yeah, it totally is.
There's a lot going on. And so yesterday we had coffee conversations with our contractor friends to talk about these same questions that we're going to be talking about today with our service providers, manufacturers, distributors, and technology providers. So I'm going to just go ahead and do some introductions here so you know who you're hearing from, and then we'll dive into the conversation. Dean, please introduce yourself.
Sure.
Tell us what you do.
Thanks for having me. Dean Furness, I'm the CEO of Engage, our software company. Help companies create amazing experiences for their sales team to use with customers. Give them all the tools they need to make sure their teams have all the latest content available, and then the measurement tools to ensure that the things that they're using in the field are actually working so they can train and make every rep their best rep.
Excellent. Thank you. Jack?
Terrific. Well, thank you again for having me. It's very exciting, and what a fantastic panel to be a part of. I run marketing at ICO, which is a roofing manufacturer.
Yeah, love it. And you manufacture both commercial and
Yes, we do
residential.
commercial and residential roofing, and we're really excited for 2026. The year's off to a great start. Here at the IRE, we have 2 plant openings next week.
Nice.
Yeah, times are good. Thank God.
Yeah, times are good. And last but not least,
Hey
Julissa.
everybody, Jalissa, Director of Marketing with SRS. Super excited to be here at IRE Las Vegas.
Yeah, so I'm glad you said an excellent start to 2026, and you're opening 2 new plants. Let's talk about what's happening in the industry and like what trends are and what's going to have the biggest impact as we move into 2026. And I'm just going to start it off because if you're opening 2 new plants, right, this is a good, a strong economy right now.
Well, the economy operates on its own. For us, it's really
It
just
does.
about control and our overall corporate goal of vertical integration. So the 2 plants that we're opening now are to create it's glass fibers and then a fiberglass mat plant. So we want to be able to control as much of the raw materials as a part of the process that we do, and then we feed, obviously, the fiberglass mat is the core ingredient in shingles. And I think the biggest trend that we are seeing is homeowners becoming increasingly involved and a part of their choice on the residential side, right? Commercial may be different, but homeowners having more of a say, more educated, and more of a choice in what they're doing. And so the trend, it seems to us, is homeowner education and
Yeah.
color selection also. We want to make sure we have those big, beautiful, vibrant colors for them to be able to either stand out or blend in whatever they want.
Yeah, so Dean, Engage is
Yep.
all about education.
We are.
And so yeah, talk a little bit about what you're seeing, and since Jack mentioned it in terms of homeowners and being more involved.
Yeah, I think if you look at it, it's the professionalization of the trades. And when you look at educating a homeowner, you need to know your stuff. You can't walk in and wing it anymore. So, really being prepared. And also, if you look at the way the market is consolidating in a lot of places, a smaller business building themselves up to be maybe part of an acquisition or for sale, a lot of that depends on the professionalization. So if 2026 is a year where you're trying to build your company for acquisition, part of that is being a great business.
Yeah.
So not just what we do, but the fundamentals of any business, the profit and loss, the ability to deliver projects on time, all of those metrics are going to be super important.
Yeah.
And that to me is just one word: professionalism.
Yeah. Jalissa, what are you seeing?
Um, when it comes to the homeowners, I think it's definitely tougher for sales reps to get that trust, right? I mean, because at one point it was like we were known as the professionals within the industry, but now you've got like artificial intelligence. I can just ask ChatGPT, hey, what is the best shingle that I can put on my roof? So I think it's about like developing that relationship, but also like earning that trust through like, hey, what are the things that we have in common? and I want to educate the homeowner on what are the things that we're going to be installing on your roof. So I think, the sales reps definitely have a tougher challenge with
Yeah,
all the information that is out, and obviously AI is changing the game tremendously. So
sure is.
we just have to be more prepared, and we have to be just ready to know what stuff we are selling to the homeowners.
Yeah, yeah. It's a lot. Homeowners have so much knowledge at their fingertips,
Yeah,
and it's not always the right information.
correct.
With
That's true.
AI
Yes.
searches,
Yes.
make stuff up sometimes.
Yes, correct. I mean, we have people on our team, on our marketing team, that are specifically focusing on that AI accuracy and ensuring that the right information is both being fed into and hopefully coming out of AI search engines.
Yeah, because then that makes the contractor have to work even harder
Yes,
to
Correct.
correct.
re-educate, I guess,
Yes.
the
It's
homeowner.
been this way since Google came around. People are
Right.
way more educated. It doesn't mean they have the right information.
True.
It just means they have information. So the
Yeah.
sales rep's job has actually never been harder because they're competing with an educated consumer. But
Yeah.
they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah.
And it could be taken out of context, and they could have read a wrong story. So
Yeah.
it's combating both.
Okay. So let's talk about the economic outlook, right? We said
Sure.
the economy runs itself. Well, kind of.
Yeah.
And I did hear an economist speaking, and he was talking about projected growth being around 1 to 2% for 2026. Is that affecting how you guys are planning for what your initiatives and efforts are going to be in 2026?
So I'm happy to go first if
Yes,
that's okay. I
go
mean,
for it.
the economy is I once heard an economist say that it's easier to predict 10 years in advance as opposed to 10 weeks in advance,
Yeah.
especially these days. These days with everything that's happening, what I would say is that regardless of the external economic impacts, one of the things that we're focusing on is just the housing shortage across North America. And as immigration increases, and there's a net increase in both the U.S. and Canada, that means we need more homes, and those homes are all going to need roofs. So I wouldn't quite go as far as to say that we're insulated from a good or a poor economy, but weather events are going to mandate that people get new roofs no matter what the economy is, right? If you have a leak, then you're taking care of that and putting a vacation on hold. So
Yeah.
so between a housing shortage and the fact that sometimes Mother Nature changes your plans, really we want to make sure that people are going to be able to have the solutions that they need if they find themselves in that bind.
Yeah. Yeah. Jalissa.
So I would say we just take a look at the trends that have been previous years, and we kind of follow the same paths, but also like try to stay nimble, right?
Yeah.
Because you never know, you might get a storm, right? And that changes the whole game. So I think it's always about like being able to adapt and definitely leveraging, hey, how can we optimize to be able to do more with less,
Yes.
leveraging technology that is available.
Yeah.
I think the best thing you can do is invest in your talent, right? The talent you have on your team is going to determine how well you can do. I mean, look, I'm a college football fan, right?
Yeah.
You look at what Indiana did on Monday
Oh my
night.
gosh,
They
incredible.
invested in really good talent that bought into a plan, and you can beat great strategy can beat some of the downturns. So if you have a really solid strategy and you can stick to it and you invest in your people, that's a big part of having
Yeah,
success.
yeah. Congrats, Indiana. That was a great game Monday
I'm a
night.
Buckeye fan, so it's hard for me to say that. But sometimes you have to give
But
credit where
it's
credit is due.
impressive. It's
Absolutely.
impressive. It's investing in your talent. I like it. Okay, so when talking about talent, let's talk about labor strategy, right? And what's working as we head into 2026. There are so many opportunities, I think, especially with technology. And maybe you want to start us off
Yeah.
as the tech guy.
It's interesting. I did a presentation earlier at the conference, and it's something you probably wouldn't expect me to say, which is don't invest in technology. And they were like, what? But that really wasn't the whole point was don't invest in technology until you've done your homework to make sure that technology is solving a real business problem that you have. AI is a perfect example.
Correct.
I was at a conference a couple weeks ago in Florida, and there was this guy literally running around to all the different vendors. Do you have AI? Do you have AI? And it's like, what problem are you trying to solve?
Yeah.
So the answer isn't add technology. The answer is, do you have really good business process, good systems, and can technology make that more streamlined, more effective, more just a better process for adding technology. If not, don't add technology.
Right.
Technology for the sake of technology is foolish.
Sure. And so for us, I would say, what's great on the technology side is finding partners like SRS and merging our interests and merging our technology and merging what it is that so that we're offering a better solution to the same end person. And being in the manufacturing space, we get to work with both contractors and distributors, which is great. So if it's Roof Hub, then we want to be sure
Yeah.
that we have everything ready that to make Roof Hub as put it in the best position possible to exceed at SRS for our customers who shop there. And then when working directly with them, it's with the roofing contractors. We have a whole suite of partnerships that we offer in order to help make their business run smoother. So just by being enrolled in our roof pro program, they can get some sort of discount. So exactly what you're saying. It's finding those technologies and making sure that they're the right ones and giving people every opportunity to not only to win. You gotta
Yeah.
win. Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe you could speak a little bit about that too.
Yeah, so I definitely work a lot more with the crews, with the company owners, and I would say what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a lot of cross training. So it's like, hey, we obviously know labor shortage has always existed, and I think the whole immigration thing has amplified that labor shortage.
Yeah.
So it's like, how do we continue to find people to get the job done? So I see a lot of cross training. We're heavily invested in Tool Belt, which is a new partnership for us on how do
nice.
we help our contractors find subcontractors. So any tools that we have available like that, I think it's something that's going to continue to be a trend on how do we connect people. But then also, like, I think we've also have been figured out how do we tap into the tech schools to be able to say, hey, within roofing, you can make six figures. Yes, there are so many roles that you could play in the industry. I just don't think people are exposed. So it continues to be like, how do we find people to know like how lucrative this industry is and all
Right.
the opportunities within it? So
Yeah.
I hope we figure that out soon.
I can't wait for the day. So I have 4 kids,
Yeah.
and I can't wait for the day when their friends come over and it's normalized that they're going into the trades, not to college. Not that there's anything wrong with college,
Yeah.
but you look at so many. I have one kid who graduated college, one who's about to, another one about to go in, and one that's a couple years away. And you look at the debt load that a lot of kids are coming out with.
Yeah.
You need to understand that these are other options,
Yeah.
and the labor shortage can be cured by just normalizing the idea that I think I want to be in the trades or getting programs in high schools and early years
Yeah.
to give them experiences
Exposure.
that
Yes.
they don't have.
Yes, it makes me very happy when my friends who have kids who are in high school and they're looking at internships are asking about roofing and asking about the trades and ask who I can introduce them to. It's like, I don't know, man. They're going to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and they're going to come home smelling like asphalt. And their parents are, it's fantastic. That's exactly what we want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the industry overall has made strides. The involvement with Skills USA,
Yeah.
the roofing competition that takes place there on the national level in
Is it
Atlanta.
always in Atlanta?
It
I was going to
is.
say, okay,
Yeah.
obviously I'm from
Put on a roof.
Atlanta, so I've heard of it being. I
Yeah.
just have never attended.
Yes, you should if you haven't.
Okay.
And yeah, so it's commercial roofing, and they're competing, building a deck,
Yeah.
a mock-up. And we interview the kids after the competition, and one of the questions that I asked was, "So how did you become interested in roofing?" And they said, "Well, someone came and talked to our class about it."
Right. It's just like that, right? Yeah.
Just like
Yeah.
they come and talk about accounting or
Yeah.
software development or anything.
Yeah.
We need to normalize
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. I want to make sure that we talk about sustainability because that is a topic that we're hearing more about, especially as the next generation of homeowners, if the homes are available for them to buy, then they're concerned about that. They care about that. What are some things that you all are doing, especially as a manufacturer,
Sure.
for
Yeah.
sustainability?
Yes. Yes. So for us, we actually just this year, is it not 2025? I've
It's
heard
2023.
a rumor that 2025 ended. So okay, you can confirm.
Yeah.
So this past year in 2025, we launched what we call ICO Beyond, and that is our corporate effort around sustainability. And it's showing up in a number of places as a manufacturer. So number one, recycling wherever we can on site. So for example, the facility where we make our wrappers, right? I mentioned earlier, vertical integration. We want to control as much of the process as possible. So we have a plant that makes wrappers for our products. And so any waste or anything that we need to discard for one reason or another, we throw right back into a machine. It spits back out pellets, and we start the whole process all over again. We are we have another site in Canada that is recycling actual shingles, right? Shingles that on site that get discarded for whatever reason, instead of throwing them in the dump, we are recycling them. We're also working we launched this year new colors in our cool colors line, which of course conform to the all those regulations that they have in California.
Yes.
So sustainability, we definitely see where the trends are going, and it's something that we're trying to be on the forefront of.
Yeah, yeah, I think we have to, have that on the forefront, especially as more people are talking about it and are interested in it.
Right.
From a technology standpoint,
I mean,
What-
it's a tough conversation because everyone thinking about AI,
data
it's
centers,
the other side of that coin, where
right?
everyone's concerned about the energy consumption fueling the growth of AI
Yeah.
technology. It's going to be very interesting where that shakes out this year. I think from our perspective, and it's such a simple little thing, you'd be shocked at how much paper we're still replacing with contractors.
Yeah.
Like, which 2026.
Yeah.
And like
Only if you say so.
and people are still like, we go in and it's hard to believe, but they're still doing paper flip books. They're
Right.
still
Yeah.
bringing in mounds and reams of paper into the sales process when they really don't need to.
Yeah.
There's tons of digital solutions, not just ours, tons of ways to eliminate paper from the process. So yeah, 2026, we're still talking about paper elimination. It's
Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah, called under Mifflin.
right?
I was thinking that same
Yeah.
thing. So, from a distributor's perspective,
Yeah.
what are you doing to focus on sustainability?
So we've added solar. So we're really focused on enhancing our solar offering. So we are the exclusive distributor for Tesla.
Oh,
So
okay.
there's a little robot at our booth, which is super cool.
Is there?
Stop by and check it out.
Oh.
But I think for us, it's a new product category on like how do we grow in different ways. And so I think solar definitely brings that, sustainability that the homeowner wants. We have to do it. It's on the roof. So why not? Right.
Yeah.
So I think for us, it's just kind of growing that segment of our business as the kind of future for us into like sustainability solutions for the homeowner and our customers.
I know that Texas has been a big market for solar.
Mhm.
It really has.
Especially with the power grid challenges that have happened over the last few years.
Yeah.
People don't want to have to rely on that grid. And
Oh,
so
I was part of that grid
Were
when
you?
my first winter in Dallas. I was like, oh, I'm going from Atlanta to Dallas. It'll be warmer. And I was like, you guys didn't tell me I was going to freeze like on my first winter here. So I was on the one rotating where like I had power 30 minutes, power off the next 30 minutes.
wow.
So that was my welcome to Texas. So definitely, I think that let us see like, hey, we are so reliant on, energy. And so I think homeowners at that point were like, you know what? What if I can develop my own energy resource to be able to not be sustained, like to be able to not rely on, other sources.
Right.
We did a solar project on our home, I think it was 3 years ago now.
Okay.
And my wife, literally last night, my wife was like, what's our energy bill? Because I was talking to the neighbor and theirs is off the charts. I said,
Yeah.
we haven't paid an energy bill, an electric bill. We're all electric in
You have the
Pennsylvania.
panels? You have solar panels?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we haven't paid an electric bill since August.
Wow.
And I had just got one. It's going to be $39 in February.
Wow.
So we had banked so many energy credits in the system because we produced so much over the course of the summer that we hadn't paid one all winter. Which in the northeast of U.S. it's been pretty cold.
Yeah.
So she was blown away by that.
And you heat with electricity?
We heat with electricity.
Ooh.
And I was going to ask, where are you located?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Philadelphia.
Okay.
Pretty crazy. So I think it's been a great investment for us.
Yeah, yeah. And now Philadelphia is close to me, and there's like a foot of snow coming this weekend, if you
There
didn't
is.
know.
Yeah.
So if your power goes out,
The panels will be covered for a week.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
fine.
yeah. Yeah, okay. So, talking about solar and sustainability, how is the drive for energy efficiency changing roofing work? Are we? You mentioned the cool colors, right? Didn't you have a black here the other day
Yes,
when we were
correct.
talking?
Yes, we showed that,
Yeah,
which was a really cool thing that our innovation people were able to develop a black shingle that is producing energy. Or yes, that's meeting those reflectivity
full roof.
requirements. Yes,
Yeah, I mean
yeah,
that's incredible. Are we
yes.
seeing even in distribution? Are you seeing
Yeah.
more of those um, options being chosen by contractors when they're ordering materials?
I mean, I think any new nuance when it comes to like, hey, how do we resolve things? Because we continue to adapt is always going to have that niche of like, hey, what are the manufacturers offering and how do you like,
Right.
bring that to the table? Because, if the market demands it, then you have to come up with a solution. So I think, it'll be something that continues to evolve and we'll continue to see, pivots like that.
I
Yeah,
think it goes back to the education question you talked about earlier too. So now you have a sales force that has to understand all of these complex things. They need to communicate that with the the prospect that they're meeting with, and the more confidence that that sales rep can give the consumer, the more likely they are to pick maybe that more energy efficient.
Could be. Yeah.
It's a whole sales training.
Right.
It's another that's
Right.
another level of how all this impacts downstream. Great, we have energy efficiency. Well, what does that mean for the sales team? What does it mean for production? What does it mean throughout the whole business
yeah.
once you have these energy efficient solutions?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we mentioned data centers earlier. We were talking about AI. What are they going to do for, their electric consumption? How are they being more energy efficient? A lot of them are getting TPO roofs or PVC
Right.
roofs or what, the reflective membranes are, are they going to start putting solar on? I think
So
Microsoft
we
said they
did.
were.
So we did actually. We have solar panels on several of the roofs of our manufacturing plants.
Okay.
Isn't that cool? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah.
So
We're
yeah,
just like you.
yeah, just like you. And I think I saw that Microsoft was building something and said they were going to put solar panels on because people are really concerned.
Right.
We're seeing a lot of
Right.
and municipalities where these data centers are being built, like
Yeah.
it's happening so fast that they don't even really have any zoning in place, and they're trying to figure it out. What are we going to do? And so it really is moving very 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 quickly. Okay, so this is a big topic on the list as well, and that's insurance and regulations. And what are we going to see in 2026? I mean, we've had some interesting,
Yeah.
issues happening in Florida and Texas and hail and claims and deductibles. How is that going to shape our industry? You look like you have something
I,
to say on
I'm going to defer to these guys
yeah.
on this one.
Yeah. I think that we it's very difficult. Okay. So I will tell you from my own personal experience. I dealt with insurance after a flood. So that's basement, not roofing, but still awful.
that. Yeah,
And I will tell you that as a manufacturer, my goal is to provide homeowners with the materials that they need to prevent the the requirement for putting in a claim to begin with. If we can get them something that's going to be able to survive the storm, performance products that'll go above and beyond,
yeah,
that they could avoid ever having to deal with insurance and that nightmare that I personally experienced, then that'll be a win for me.
yeah, yeah.
I think for me, that'll be something, I hear a lot from the contractors, oh, this insurance is dropping a homeowner because they made a claim or whatever. But I think, from a roofer contractor standpoint, I think you always have to be, loaded with like, do I have a finance option? Just to get people, hey, if this doesn't get approved, then I know you still know that roof. So I
Yeah.
think for a roofing contractor, you must have, your insurance
Great
option
answer.
and then your
Yes.
retail
Yes.
Yeah.
financing
And then,
option.
yes, give the roof pros. Yes, we've done that too. That's a great answer. Give the roof pros tools to be able to enable something that's easier to go in house, and so that they can. So once that homeowner has experienced
Yeah.
something very bad, you can say, okay, if you installed this shingle, hopefully an ICO shingle, it has a high impact. It has a high impact rating on it, right? It's
Right.
impact resistant. It's wind resistant. It is designed to help you weather that storm.
Right.
One thing we've seen too is where a lot of our customers are retail roofers,
Right.
and their insurance counterparts
Mhm.
are now adding a retail practice because the unpredictability of the storm
Right.
is something that they have to adjust their business to.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
they're where they were 100% insurance, and then all of a sudden you have a year like 25 that didn't have a ton of
Yeah.
storm.
No.
Yeah.
Their businesses suffered tremendously, and they just didn't have the process, they didn't have the technology, they didn't have all the things they need to be successful to weather that storm of no storms.
Right.
So you look at being resilient to the trends of what's happening in the economy, what's happening in the weather. Like that's a lot of things for a business owner to think about.
Right. Yeah.
But I think it's weird for me to say this, but from a roofing industry, I think the whole financing side of the business, we're so far behind on that.
Yeah.
I mean, how long have you bought appliances and you know you finance it and you got like payments, right? So that's been forever ago. So I think like we're going to continue to lag on catching up on all contractors offering that solution because for some it's still a new concept,
Yeah.
especially if you come from like a storm market, right? You always know that that's the way it goes and that's what you know. So I say, we continue to partner with financing partners like Goodleaf that, give us that solution for our customers to help them
Right.
win jobs day in and day out.
You
One
know,
of-
I just want to comment that I know some insurance companies, and probably in Texas, I don't know the areas, are making the deductible a percentage of your home's value.
Really?
Which, yes.
Yes.
So if you have a $500,000 home and you've got to pay 30% of the value, so, for
Right.
a deductible,
Yeah.
you're going to need that financing option.
Correct.
Yeah.
So you're spot on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting, one of the analytics that people look for in our software
Yeah.
is did they present financing?
Oh,
Because they know on page 17 of the presentation is where financing is, and they've been trained to spend X amount of time on it, and they
Yeah.
go in. That's one of the metrics that they look at is we know that that's what you're supposed to. How you're gonna you need to position it at this point of the conversation, and it's a great training tool. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely something that everyone is looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta have a
Plan B.
Yeah, well,
Absolutely.
And
Yeah.
also the different types of financing, right? Is
Yeah.
it a waterfall financing? Is it marketplace financing? A lot of the contractors don't understand the difference between these different
Right.
types of programs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's software that can help you, but there's a huge education needed in this market around the different types of financing that are even available.
So true. So true. And the contractor, the salesperson has a lot. They've got to understand the system, they got to understand the roof, but they got to understand the financing and how that works. And man,
It's not easy to be a salesperson in this
No.
world, right?
Right.
They got to
Gotta
price
juggle
it, they got to
everything.
sell it, they got to talk about their. I mean, it's amazing. There's a lot to know.
Wow. Yeah, there is. All right. So, got a few more topics. We're about
Good.
halfway through. Yeah.
Okay.
This one is perhaps one of the most important ones that we're going to be talking about, and that's job site safety. And we want to know, like, what's changing, what's shifting in 2026, and I want to touch on as well mental health awareness. A lot of contractors are now incorporating that in their toolbox talks and as part of their safety programs. So maybe just talk about your perspectives on what you're seeing. How are contractors changing, of their safety to be more complete?
So for us, I think the solution, and this seems to be a theme that we've all been talking about
Yeah.
the whole day here, is being prepared and being proactive.
Yeah.
I think that is something that is going to really affect the mental health of anybody. When challenges arise, the less surprised you are and the more prepared you are for that, the better you're going to be able to react to it.
Yeah.
So that's why we have really gone onto that and leaned in on education. So I can give you just two examples that we're doing,
Please.
and I hope that our competitors, are doing the same because it's good for the industry. Number one is just training content that's available for free on YouTube. Okay, so we have put out our series is called Blueprint for Roofing. It's everything from safety training to install demos, and it remains our most popular video series.
Yeah.
We have it available in multiple languages now, and it's a really good tool for people again to just be prepared and feel confident. And then if you want to go into a little bit more specific, we've proudly partnered this year with Clemson University and the NRCA and their School of Roofing, and that is giving roofers the opportunity to get a discounted tuition rate on the incredible education that they are providing, both in terms of how to run their business, because it's stressful running a business.
Yeah.
It's stressful running a roofing business, any business, but especially a roofing business. And so from installing the products, running your books the right way, making sure you're profitable, putting money aside in case, you were relying on that storm and it doesn't show up. What are you going to do? Do you need to lay people off, right? You want to be prepared for that so that you can always be growing. So for us, I think mental health, the best way to address it is to be prepared for everything.
as prepared as you can. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I would say for me on the contractor side, I would say that's always something that's super important in our industry, especially because, we have so many people that fall off a roof. That's very common. So I would say to all my contractors, make sure that you are a part of NRCA. They do have all the training and resources available for you, but then also being part of like the contractor association locally. Oftentimes they have lunch and learns. You can have an OSHA training, a safety training class just by being part of that organization. Absolutely make sure that you're a member because oftentimes those organizations will get you, hey, here's the new, safety for 2026, the changes or whatever. But I would say being part of the contractor organizations will help you find the resources to get your team taken care of. And on the other side, I also want to say on the mental health side of the business, I've always heard like the roofing industry is one of the most stressful industries we'll ever be in. And I'm like, how? Like, I'm over here thinking like
Right.
surgeons and like people that are dealing with life or death situations, right?
Yes.
And so, like, now that I've been in it for over 10 years, I'm like, okay, now I get why they say it's one of the most stressful industries because we're oftentimes planning late. Our customers want to place an order at 11 o'clock p.m. and they want it delivered the next day. And it's like, you knew you were going to do this job. Now I understand if there's a storm or it's raining and you want to change it up, you get those circumstances. But I think on the contractor side, there's still like a lot of planning and development to do as to how do you manage your operations to be able to make it less stressful. And then also on top of that, mental awareness. I think from an industry perspective, we never really talked about that.
No.
I've only seen like National Women in Roofing with their, is it Mandy McIntyre, I
Yes.
believe,
Her
has
first
like a
mental
mental health for roofing contractors in the industry. So I'm like, I've only seen that. I haven't seen more of it. I think we definitely need to have more awareness so that we're able to like educate our teams, be able to talk
Yeah.
about the topic, and how do we make it not a stressful industry for the people that are coming behind us, right?
So
Well, and
true.
also not taboo.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay to
Right.
say I need help, and normalizing that as
Yeah.
well. Not
Yeah.
just the fact that you can be a roofer, but that it's okay to say, hey, I need to press pause here, and I need to check out for a couple minutes because I don't have what I need to do this 100%.
Yeah.
Knocking on the roof when you're in a state that maybe
Right.
shouldn't.
Yeah.
That's very dangerous. And I know NRCA does have a committee that's focused on, mental health, suicide prevention. And so it's starting to become a little more less
Mhm.
taboo, I should say.
Yeah.
And but it's hard, right? How do you have that conversation? Even if you as an employer see somebody struggling,
Right.
are you okay?
Yeah.
Like, do you need a minute? And how do you go there? And so having more of those resources is going to be so
Like,
important.
teach us how to start that conversation.
That's right. Teaching
Right.
leadership. It's not just up to the worker to say I need to press pause, but it's up to
That's right.
the
Yeah.
leadership to have the skills
Yeah.
to know and recognize.
100%.
signs
When I on my first day, the first thing that my boss said to me years ago when I first started in this job, my first thing my boss said to me was, "Rule number one is nobody drowns." Okay, and you never need to feel bad if you're drowning. Raise your hand and we'll help you. So yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
The phrase that comes to mind when you say it, pressure is a privilege.
Right.
And we want to put people in pressure situations to really test what they can do.
Yeah.
At the same time, it can cause that level of stress
Right.
where they need some help.
Yeah. Yeah. Good point. So we all need to take care of each other.
There we go.
Hey, I downloaded
Indeed.
the Calm app.
Yeah.
So I can meditate in the morning. That's
Nice.
an example of
Yeah.
little things we can do.
Totally.
Right.
Or just sharing a positive message daily. I think those little tweaks go such a long way. And we're often so busy running around getting to the next thing that we don't take a pause to just reflect and really just say, you know what? I have a moment of gratitude and
Right.
I want to pass that to the rest of my team.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Okay. So what do you all think is the biggest risk that the roofing industry needs to prepare for in 2026? That's a big question.
I think we've talked about it a little bit. People, come tell your high schoolers,
Yeah.
become roofers. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also as we look at how the makeup of our customer base has changed over the last couple of years, there's becoming a two-sided market. So you have these large roofing conglomerates, if you will,
Yeah.
and you have the smaller mom and pop shops, and there's becoming less and less in the middle. So I think there's the opportunity that we become a market where it's very top heavy, where the smaller guys might not be able to compete
Yeah.
as much, and just being prepared for that. Like, how does a smaller business remain competitive in this two-sided market. It's a big deal.
That's true. And I think the M&A environment that we're seeing now with mergers, acquisitions, consolidations, private equity is creating those big
Oh, yeah, totally.
operations.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be curious, from your perspective, how much are you seeing those mergers and consolidations happening?
Every day.
Yeah.
I mean, we have like a person on our team, national accounts team, that focuses on private equity companies that are like ready to take that step.
Yeah.
And I'm all in for it because we've seen it in other industries. And I know it happens to be like what's trending in roofing in the last couple of years. But aside from that, like I worry personally because I'm like, how many like roofing companies are going to be bought out by one company? And at the end of the day, a lot of those people don't know the roofing industry. Like what made
Right.
those companies successful was that owner that built it, that sweated to make sure that,
Right.
it was going to be built the right way. So I fear that we have more like mergers and acquisitions and private equity buying out roofing companies that it's going to take like that family part, right? Of like really owning it and being proud because now it's like, hey, I sold it and now other people are managing it. And yes, they are in the roofing industry, but it's still not the same as
Right.
your own, like, this is my baby.
Right.
So I think that for me, I fear that there'll be like a bubble at some point, that it'll be like a tipping point where it's not good anymore. But
Yeah.
that's just my
Will.
take.
I think everything's cyclical.
Yeah.
Every 10, 15 years, this seems to start to happen
Well,
and then it backs up.
consolidation in business, it's a great sign. It means
Yeah.
you're in a mature market. It means there's people are running really healthy businesses that show profit. Like
Yeah.
those are all super positive things. The question is, how does it impact and create a divide that maybe we don't want in our industry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Just,
Yeah.
here it's
I just feel
January
like,
and what's going
alright.
to happen?
Yeah.
At what point is that going to happen, or
We'll see.
that bubble's going to
It's
burst?
fun to watch, though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is. Yeah. And
Yeah.
there's some positive stories out there, but there's also
Yeah.
some negative ones
Yeah.
too.
Yes.
So,
It feels like it's all the time. Who got bought? And then it's
right.
like, who folded? Who's not in business anymore? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
interesting. All we can do is wait and see, I guess,
Yes. Yes.
and be prepared.
Well,
Yeah.
and also learn from the mistakes of the ones that don't work. So we
Mhm.
sell to all the different roofing companies, and
Right.
interestingly enough, our first 7 customers were all purchased by one and rolled up into
Oh, wow.
a private
wow.
equity roll-up,
Wow.
and that failed. And when you look at the lessons that we learned we were all excited. Oh my gosh, this is great.
Yeah.
One bill, like all the efficiencies
Yeah.
that they're going to get. And we watched it start to happen. And it really gave us pause to say, all right, who is our ideal customer? How do we focus ourselves as a company to go out, and what are the warning signs we have to look at? Because it also presents risk to vendors like us
Yeah.
to say, all right, how am I going to hedge against those risks like any good business would do? So we
Yeah.
just have to learn.
Yeah. Good point. I like you learn from the ones that didn't work.
When
Yeah.
you win or you learn, you never lose.
I love it. Okay. All right. So let's talk about shifting customer expectations. We're going into 2026. What are we seeing customers? What are their expectations?
They demand excellence, and
Yeah.
it's up to us to give them what they demand. That's why we changed our tagline to proven performance, because they should expect the best out of an industry like this.
I would say, again, being prepared with giving people options is always going to be like, going back to what we said, being prepared for what we don't know, right?
Yeah.
And pulling that card when that moment happens. I think consumers will continue to ask for more and they want to be more educated. And it's like, hey, how do I give you the options that you want and what fits you the most? Because I think often contractors have a one like sales pitch for all customers.
Yeah.
Which is a fail because you got your people that are trendy people, you got your people that are, hey, I'm just looking for the most basic item that's gonna get my problem resolved. So I think knowing how to read that customer, where do they fall? Are they the trendy? Do they want just an economic, solution? Do they want, hey, I want a good, better, best?
Yeah.
So it continues to be like, how do we pull that artillery when we're right there with the homeowner to make sure that we're addressing specifically like options, financing options, whether that's like, hey, a good, better, best. Hey, if your insurance denies that claim, guess what? I've got a financing option, so we're still going to be able to take care of you. So I think just, again, continuing to prepare our
Yeah.
sales force to address,
Yeah.
given options and being ahead of the game.
I think they're going to expect to buy a roof the way they expect to buy anything else. So I'm not saying we need to have the
Online.
Amazon of roofing, right? But I think
Roof
companies
Hub's
need,
close.
I think companies need to have ways to communicate virtually or present virtually to their prospects, or maybe there's a qualification process that changes. It's not everything in the home. I think there's just, you have to meet the consumer where they are.
Yeah.
And the company that does that most effectively is going to win their business. So however that looks for you as your business, maybe you say, hey, I'm never going to sell virtually. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
I'm only going to go in the home.
Yeah.
Right. Just know that there's going to be people
That are
there's a whole
doing-
generation of
No,
people
that's true.
who do not want to buy that way.
Right.
And so that comes down to exactly meeting them where we are. I mean, when we redesigned our website last year, we looked at the analytics. We said, what are the most popular parts of the website? What function? What are we solving for?
Mhm.
What function should it have? And we realized that homeowners are a lot of the people who come to the site, and they're really looking for two things. And one of those things isn't really the performance of our products, because that is something that they just expect.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
not something they're looking to learn about. That's something that is just a baseline expectation. They want to learn about colors, so that's up to us to educate them on the amazing color options that we have. So we have videos that show real, drones of real roofs, and they want to find a contractor who can do it for them.
Right.
And so that's you build your you have to build your experience around what their expectations are, not the other way around.
Right.
And I'm gonna piggyback off of Jack. So I think for our manufacturing partners like Jack and ICO, it's like, how do we equip our customers, which is the contractor, with that sales visualizer tool, right? From a female perspective, oftentimes the sales reps are selling to the female of the house. She's
Right.
gonna pick like what color, and I want to know what it's gonna look like. So I think any tools that we can facilitate
Are you
to our
kidding me?
contractors.
Are you kidding me? I do this for a living, and my wife picked the roof color. So there you go. Okay.
So
Yeah.
we females
Yeah.
need the roof visualizer that
Yeah.
can tell us what is that color going to look like on my house. So
Yes. So it's interesting because I was going to ask, and you sort of went there. I was
Okay.
going to say, okay, now let's talk about how customer expectations are shifting from the perspective of your customers, your contractors.
Yeah.
What are they expecting from you? And you nailed it with, we need to equip them with the tool.
Yeah.
So we're seeing contractors are really expecting their service providers and their manufacturers to deliver.
Yeah.
I think you nailed it earlier. You said training, education, enablement.
Yes.
I mean, the term is sales enablement or customer enablement.
Yeah.
You can call it training or whatever word you want to give. It's making sure they're amazing, because when the people who are going to sell to the end customer
Yeah.
are amazing, they have a thing that all of us want, which is confidence.
Yeah.
If you have a confident sales rep going into the home or presenting virtually or whatever they are doing, it builds confidence in the customer that they are the ones to provide the solution to the pain and the problem that they have. And the more confident those people are in that process, the more likely they're going to win business.
Yeah, for sure.
From my perspective, I'm going to say that biasly, right? I would say SRS is the most customer focused distributor partner that any contractor can have. And I say that's because I live it, right?
Right.
So for us, it's like, hey, we have a really big focus on growing our siding market, our solar market, our commercial roofing market. So it's like, how do we take the customers we have and equip them with the connections? And hey, if you're only doing roofing, why don't you do siding? And hey, you might want to also add solar. So how do we help our customers grow in different segments that they're not in, so that we are able to help them grow? Because if they grow, we grow at the same time. So
Right.
you'll see that we're expanding outside of just roofing. When I first started, it was just like asphalt shingles. That's all we do, right? And now it's like, oh my God, we got like different categories where we're expanding into to address how do we grow as well, from a company perspective, because our goals are always higher year in and year out. So it's
Right.
like, how do we keep hitting our goals? Well, we got to expand in other categories that we weren't in before, and we got to bring our customers with us.
Yeah.
We're doing something very interesting that was a big bet for us. We're creating a customer community where I'm actually going to teach on business and leadership. I'm not going to teach anything about presentation software.
Yeah.
I'm going to teach about business and leadership, because we find that a lot of the companies that are coming on need that training. Well, why don't we give it to them?
Yeah.
I run a business. I have coaches in my life that I'm learning from. Why not pass that knowledge along? We're going to train on good design, because they don't have great brand, and so we have an expert designer on our team. We have sales and marketing coaches. So we're going to do that same thing, not to self-serve our product, but to serve the market in a way to level up their business. I go back to the first thing I said, professionalism. The more professional these businesses are, the more likely that they're going to succeed and win business.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Yeah, and there's nothing better than, like you guys step up with your support, your programs, who you partner with, you partner, the integrations. It's really great to see this side of the business really giving that education, those tools, that coaching. It's going to be a great 2026, in my opinion.
I agree.
It's exciting
We're excited.
times.
We
Yeah,
are too.
absolutely.
We are
Yeah.
too. It's going to be great growth for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Let's go
Hey,
together.
that's right. Let's
Yeah.
grow together.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. I can't believe we used up almost the entire hour.
Oh, goodness.
I know, right? Time flies when you're having such a great conversation. I want to thank you all for being here, for sharing your insights, for sharing what you're seeing.
We love hanging out with you. It's great. Thank you for the
Yeah.
opportunity.
It's fun. And, thank you everybody out there for watching. We love bringing the pulse of the industry, especially getting it at IRE, right? Our biggest event of the year, to you who maybe couldn't be here this year. So thanks for tuning in. And, you can go to rooferscoffeeshop.com under the RLW menu, find coffee conversations.
Read, listen, learn.
Watch.
Watch.
Yes.
Read, listen, watch.
But you're learning too.
Exactly.
And you can see upcoming coffee conversations, and all of the past ones are out there too. But thanks for watching, and we hope to see you on a future